Welcome to the new Workology Go Podcast. In just under 5 minutes, we'll get you the HR and workplace news you need before you start your day 2 times a week. Get ready, get set, and go with the new Workology Go Podcast.
Here are today's HR and workplace news headlines from the Workology Go Podcast. I'm Jessica Miller-Merrill. This podcast is sponsored by HSA Bank. As we understand and know more about the brain, thanks to science and also data available in our hiring and HR processes, we're able to understand now more than ever the biases that exist in our workplace, especially hiring. The topic of age bias in hiring is getting more scrutiny and also press after growing concerns on age discrimination hiring practices using ads and targeted campaigns when it comes to social networks like Facebook and LinkedIn. Workers over 50 now total over 54 million Americans. These over 50 workers are now facing more precarious financial circumstances because of a legacy of recession. More than half of the workers over 50 lose long-time jobs before they are ready to retire, according to a recent analysis by the Urban Institute of ProPublica. I sat down and talked with Jo Weech, who published an article on LinkedIn that went viral on the subject. And her blog on LinkedIn was titled, Over 40 and Interviewing, Have These Things Happen to You? She has received thousands upon thousands of comments and messages from people as a result of this article. And I wanted to give a minute for her to talk a little bit about being discriminated against for being over 40 in the hiring process.
This is my personal story. It is real. It has happened and continues to happen to me and apparently thousands of people all over the world. So when Susan Fowler, the Uber engineer, shared her story about sexual harassment that happened to her personally, I believe that resonated with people, and I think they found courage to find their own voices, and people attribute that to the start of the Me Too movement. And I do believe it's because she didn't just write an article about sexism or sexual harassment, but she just shared her personal story. So I think that's what has resonated.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to share your story because it is happening. It is out there. And you have more than over almost 10,000 comments or thumbs up on the article that's on LinkedIn. So it has definitely struck a chord with a large group of people. Let's talk a little bit more about this. Why is this an issue? I'm over 40, and I think a lot of our podcast listeners are over 40 as well, or approaching that number. We all likely will be. Why is it such a problem?
Okay, so I think I've formulated a few beliefs about why this is an issue in the workplace. It used to be, back when pensions were given by companies, that a tactic used was to eliminate a person's position before they could qualify for that pension. So this is more of like a bottom line, but it's not taking into consideration the domino ramifications. And so instead of providing coaching and equipping for more mature workers, such as tutorials on, leveraging today's social media with cool tools, or courses in agile methodology, or providing, even little webinars on how to use GIFs in Slack, for example, it's just easier to eliminate their position and fill it with someone who grew up with those tools and technologies. So I encountered one young company whose makeup was 92% under the age of 20, including the owners. And I was told that their company policy was not to hire anyone for whom they could not provide a career path. This means that they would never be able to benefit from the wisdom and experience of someone who didn't need or want one, and who could inform them what their fresh idea was implemented in previous years with some major drawbacks. So why keep reinventing the wheel 5 different ways without someone there to say why 3 of them have been epic fails in previous years for the same reasons that are still in existence today? So I think that really it's just about not being cognizant of what the ROI is for having seasoned people, not necessarily seasoned experience, but just even people who are seasoned with life.
This episode's featured story comes from the New York Times, and it is titled New Evidence of Age Bias in Hiring and a Push to Fight It. We'll link to the article in the transcript, also Jo's article, and a number of other resources. Facebook allows for ad targeting based on age, gender, and zip code. This was originally intended for use in the consumer world for consumer ad targeting, and it has found its way into recruitment and hiring. I think it could be a great way to engage. Maybe you're opening a new store location or you have a specific diversity initiative that you're targeting. And until recently, you could target which Facebook users saw your sponsored post or update based on the lane spoke. However, this isn't being used the right way. And so it's resulting in a lot of claims and I think age discrimination that's happening as a result of social media. This won't be the last time you hear about age discrimination, and we are not all getting any younger, even though we're trying really, really hard, myself included. In a federal court in California, a class action lawsuit against the global accounting firm, PwC, claims substantial evidence of age disparities in hiring, was certified in April 2019. The company noted on its career website and in reports that its average age of its worker member force was 27, and that 80% of its staff members were millennials, those who were born after 1981. PwC has responded to the class action lawsuit, saying that its company's hiring practices are merit-based and have nothing to do with age. It is added, the plaintiff's accusations are false, and we will prove that in court. I know that all of us have probably dealt with lawsuits, maybe not of this magnitude, but it's never a fun situation. I know we're going to be seeing more lawsuits like PwC's in the future, and I know the age discrimination topic is something that we're all going to be wading and managing through.
With health savings accounts, flexible spending accounts, health reimbursement arrangements, COBRA, and commuter benefits, HSA Bank is simplifying the health account experience for over 35,000 employers and 2.7 million members alike, inspiring everyone to own their health. Learn more at hsabank.com.
And that's this episode of the Workology Go podcast, sponsored by HSA Bank. We're your go-to for HR and workplace news. I'm Jessica Miller-Merrill. Thank you for listening.
To learn more about the Workology Go podcast, subscribe to us on Apple, Google, and Stitcher. Our podcast is also available on Alexa and Google Home. Learn more at workology.com/Go podcast and access this episode's resources, links, and reports for more information.